Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar hosted by Brennan IT and Veeam. The topic today is backup and replication to our cloud using Veeam Cloud Connect. If you have any questions, please enter them into the questions dialog box, which you'll find on the console on the right-hand side, and we'll get to those questions at the end. We won't be able to hear any audio from any of the participants, only the presenters. If you have any technical issues, please contact Tahita at Brennan IT on that phone number. I'll give you some time to just note that down. All right, looks like we're waiting for some more attendees to join. We'll just give them another few seconds. For those of you who have not met me before, my name is Lincoln DeMello. I'm the Practice Director at Brennan IT of Cloud Services. Also joining me today is Hal Yemen from Veeam, who's a Solutions Architect there. All right, so managing offsite backups often means that you have to buy more storage tapes, there's rotation, there's troubleshooting that you need to perform. Acting on user requests to restore files, folders, or even entire servers from some time back is painful for internal teams. I'm sure you can resonate with some of that, particularly if it involves tape recalls and finding the right tapes, mounting it, etc. So in many cases, the backup media itself may be not off-site, and this is really exposing you to site-level risk in case it's stored in the same building as where the production environment is, or it's in the boot of your car. On the disaster recovery side, IT offers, on the IT side, requires a replica site to be built. This is usually a like-for-like stand-up in a secondary data center. You need to have that built, tested regularly, maintained, and then even invoking DR in that situation makes assumptions about internal staff having access to boot the replica and make routing changes, when in fact sometimes in a real disaster situation the internal staff may not have access to the off-site replica itself. So having an independent party do that for you sort of makes sense. And this is where we introduce the concept of targeting backup and disaster recovery replication to a secure local Australian-based cloud service provider using Veeam Cloud Connect. So how does Veeam Cloud Connect work? And we're going to go into a great level of detail here when I hand over to Hal. But at a high level, instead of maintaining your own offsite copy, Veeam Cloud Connect points to actually included within the Veeam backup and replication software that you may already currently be running. It's a function within that software itself, as long as you're running version 8 and above. So that takes the pain away about managing your own off-site backup copies. You still back up to a local repository to have that fast local access, but for the off-site copy and the replica that goes off through the Brennan IT cloud infrastructure that's been built and dedicated for Veeam Cloud Connect. In essence, at a very high level, your environment on the left-hand side has a compute and storage element to it that's backed up to a primary backup storage as it is today if you're already running Veeam or some equivalent software, and then the backup offsite copy, instead of being written to a tape in the tape library, is simply targeted to the Brennan IT cloud as a storage repository, and Veeam controls that from end to end within the same software console. So at this point in time, I'd like to hand over control to Hal Yemen from Veeam to talk about the details and also give us a live demonstration within the Veeam console of how to do this, and then of course there's some new things that are coming up in Veeam as well, including Office 365 backup.
Thanks, Colin. Let's start here. And just tell me if you can see my screen.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us. My name is Hal Yemen. I will continue from the slide that Lincoln just hand over. If we look to this diagram, we see that Today, if you are using Veeam or you're using any other application for backup, you keep in some information or some backups on site. So you're backing up from your production storage to a primary backup storage. And if you are lucky and you have a backup strategy which dictates that you have to back up something to the cloud, you will be able to back up to the cloud and have an off-site backup. If you look to the slide carefully, you can see that in this strategy, which I'm going to talk about it more in the next slide, you can see that we introduced a Veeam backup and replication tools into this diagram. And from the service provider side, you can see also the component that the service provider like Brennan IT is using in order to capture the information that you send from your infrastructure to Brennan IT infrastructure for backup or for a DR scenario. Why is that very important? Because at Veeam we are running into three backup principle or design principle when it's coming for backing up data. We called it the 3-2-1 design principle. So we encourage our customers for best practices for design principle, and in order to be protected from data failure, from server failure, to keep 3 different copies of the data in 2 different media, and at least one of these data will be off-site. If you follow this methodology or this design principle, you probably will be able to retrieve your information after any disaster you're going to encounter. In this slide, I'm going to talk about 2 components that Veeam Cloud Connect offer. The first one is the backup as a service. Backup as a service, as you can see in this diagram, is a storage that Brennan IT built, a big storage, install Veeam Cloud Connect. That Cloud Connect have another 2 components, which is very important, the cloud gateways. These cloud gateways is the interface that is going to be connected from your infrastructure. They throw them in order to get to your nominated repository that is going to be provided by Brennan IT. Also on this diagram, you will find the WAN acceleration, which is will be an optional into the customer side or your side, which that WAN acceleration is going to provide you with deduplication compression before sending data to Brennan IT to optimize the link between you and Brennan IT data center. One of the very interesting things about the design that we provided and Brennan IT used today is all this communication between your side to Brennan IT data center is going to be encrypted using SSL communication and encryption. And from Brennan IT side, there is only one port will be open, and all what you need from your side is just to communicate easily to Brennan IT using Brennan IT offering IP address or URL, which we're going to demonstrate. So how exactly Brennan IT providing a backup as a service? Let's jump to another diagram and see how the backup as a service from Brennan IT data center, how it's being configured. I'm going to strip any unnecessary information to talk about here, and we'll just concentrate on the storages. So Brennan IT provide or purchase a big storage spaces, and they configure it to communicate with Veeam, and that storage will be multi-tenant using the Veeam infrastructure, the Veeam intelligence, and each customer will be able to have a folder to segregate each customer from the other and have a repository over the network or offsite from the on-premises. As you can see on this diagram, we created 3 tenants, tenants 1, 2, and 3, and each of these tenants have a repository space, which when you connect your infrastructure, the local infrastructure, on-premises infrastructure, you're going to see this repository as presented as a local storage, but this actually is sitting at Brennan IT data center. Then you will be able to back up to this space that's provided by Brennan IT, and that will move your data offsite following the design principle 3-2-1. Now, when it comes to DR as a service, and with the DR as a service is dealing more with your workload. Let's say that you have Exchange, you have SQL server, and that server is very, very important. In our demo, for example, I replicate my domain controller to Brennan IT data center, and I will be able to replicate to Brennan IT data center, and I will be able to fail over and move my workload from on-premises to Brennan IT data center, and then I will be able to access it remotely. And also, Veeam will create all the routing, all the communication between the on-premises and Brennan IT data center, and that communication will keep all the workload that is still running on-premises communicating over the WAN to Brennan IT data center. So if we look to that diagram, the infrastructure of Veeam will never change. It's the same thing. We will see Veeam backup server, the cloud gateways. The cloud gateways will be used again, as we said, in the backup as a service, as the gateway, accepting the communication from on-premises to the data center or the remote data center, and the WAN acceleration. But we also add another server role here. It's the Veeam proxy, where is all the communication between the on-premises communication will be processed by this proxy, this intelligent software that Brennan IT already installed, and we will going to compress the data, register the VMs that you just replicated to the hypervisor, and presented it and make it ready for you to use in a case of a disaster. So if we go in deeply to exactly how the data centers will be configured, this is a diagram that's showing exactly what Brennan IT configured in order to offer you a DR as a service. And the good news for you, you don't need to know about this. You don't need to configure anything from your side. All what you need to do is, as you can see, customer A, B, and C, they're going to only have a username and password that Brennan IT staff will send to you when you sign for the offering, and all what you need to do is just from Veeam GUI, you're going to enter this username and password, and then you will be able to see a hypervisor dedicated to with the specification that you require to your on-premises to be able to replicate the information. So if we look to the Brennan IT infrastructure here, they will have a hypervisor, VMware or Hyper-V, and then they will multi-tenant this hypervisor through the Veeam offering, Veeam Cloud Connect, and each of the customer will be able to see a dedicated hypervisor, because or Veeam multi-tenant the hypervisor, and each customer will have a specific hypervisor specification like CPU power and memory size and virtual NIC that will be dedicated to the customer, and then the customer will be able to only replicate the data or the VM from on-premises to the Brennan IT data center. No, the people knows me know that I don't like too much slide, and I like to jump on hand demos. That will give more understandable information about how things is going through the scene, and that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to run it through a live demo, which we're going to present the Veeam Cloud Connect overview, just to show you exactly what we talk about. Then I will show you how easy the client can be configured to benefit from the offering, to replicate and to back up to Brennan IT. And also we will do object and file recover from the Brennan IT data center. Now, just for the record, guys, I've been replicating and also being back up to Brennan IT offering. So this is a real life scenario, replicating information or replicating workloads from my production lab to Brennan IT data center. Now, from the configuration from Brennan IT data center, obviously I will not be able to connect to their infrastructure, so I will show you from the Veeam point of view how the Brennan IT configure the offering to offer you a backup as a service and a DR as a service. So if we jump on my data center or my lab, you will be able to see that I have a 3 ESX server connecting to a storage. No special configuration being done here. Very simple, 3 ESX server and a storage. And then I installed Veeam Cloud Connect, apply special license, which Brennan IT already done, and then I went through a configuration to configure the Cloud Connect. As you can see, I have created some tenants here called user 1. In that user 1, I provide him a 10 gigabyte free space. Then he will be able, this customer will be able to back up data to this 10 gig as a backup. And also I give him a tenant or virtual infrastructure for him to replicate data to. In my case, I give two virtual CPUs with 1 gigahertz and give it some data store in order to store the VMs that will be replicated from on-premise. And as you can see, the customer or that user being able to replicate. Now, from our side for this demo, what is happening? Before this demo, I asked Brennan IT if they can provide me a username and password and some virtual power that I can replicate to that infrastructure. And all what I did is went to the backup infrastructure, and I register Brennan IT URL, username, and password, and I get all the information I need. For example, if I do a right-click, all what I did is just provide the DNS and the IP address, the credentials, apply the configuration, and finish. That's all what it's being done. And as you can see, we use the default port 6180, and that's all what Brennan IT opened in their firewall, and that's all the communication needed to be go through that port. From your point of view or configuration point of view, all what you need to do is just to go to the service provider tab, right-click, enter the username and password. That's all what you need to do. Once you added Brennan IT as your Cloud Connect destination, you will be able to see in the repository that Brennan IT now provide you an off-site repository and also a workload repository or a virtual workload repository. In my case, they give me 2 terabyte, nice guys, and now there is 2 terabytes free, so I didn't use too much from that. Then when I wanted to back up, all what I did is right-click, create a job, but on the job, instead I back up to the storage, local storage. I say I wanted to back up to Brennan IT Cloud repository. You remember that 2 terabyte? That's exactly where I point my backups to. And as you can see, I start the backup, and everything is work fine. I just back up my DNS server to Brennan IT. Okay, so my server now is also running in, or my backup is also located into their data center. And if I need to retrieve any information, let's say that I delete an object or I delete a file from my DC, I'll be able to right-click. I can recover, as you can see here, I'm still running from the cloud, okay, very important. I'll right-click, and then I can restore the entire VM, I restore file. Also, I can restore files from the VMDK file that I just backed up to the cloud. And also I can, because it's a domain controller that I backed up, I will be able to retrieve an object. Let's see what will happen if I will use retrieving an object, Active Directory object. So this is my Active Directory server that I backed up, and now I can retrieve this information over the cloud from Brennan IT data center. So whatever happened to my local DC or to happen to my infrastructure, I will be able to retrieve the data, entire data, or only an object using recovery of the Active Directory. And if I don't want to use the recovery of the Active Directory and I want to recover only files, I will be able to right-click and say I want to recover individual file from the cloud, which is going to explore the Cloud Connect VMDK file sitting into the Brennan IT data center, and I will be able to retrieve only one file or the entire disk or any object that I want from the VMDK file. I will keep it running at this stage on the background until it retrieves some information, and I will show you what we see. When it comes to replication, again, we talk about backup as a service. Just take the backup to offsite, which is the data center. Something happened, you will be able to retrieve. Now, with the sophisticated function with Veeam provided is the replication. On this job, I said this two server is very important server to my infrastructure. So just the DC and the MySQL. And I wish to replicate them, and the destination this time is going to be to this hypervisor. This hypervisor, actually, the cluster or the host hypervisor, is sitting at Brennan IT data center. And all what I will have to do when I configure the job is just to point to this host or a cluster, which is presented into my Veeam console after I added the service provider, which is the Brennan IT. And as you can see, all what I did is just run the replication, and I replicate all the information to Brennan IT data center. Something happened to these servers, or one of them. I created a failover plan. With this failover plan, all what I did, I said, if something happened to my server, I want the SQL server to be running into Brennan IT data center, and I will communicate between them. But just back to the file recovery. As I explained, so if you wanted to recover only one file, you will be able to retrieve only one file from the VMDK file. This is my DC server, and you will be able to retrieve any file you wish if you need to retrieve any file. Again, all this is running from Brennan IT data center. There's nothing backed up into my lab. Everything is backed up to from Brennan IT data center, and I can retrieve it from. Okay, as you can see, guys, it's very simple, very straightforward. There's no too much configuration you need to do. All what you need, as I explained, all what you need to do is just to enable the service provider and then create the job and or the replication. Okay, let's back to my slide. One of the things that we are so excited about with Veeam, we introduced a new platform, and you're going to start seeing it more and more. If you start working with Veeam, or you're already a Veeam customer, we call this the availability platform. Today, if you are using Veeam, or you know about Veeam, or wish to use Veeam, you will notice that Veeam is dominated into the data center, the local data center. Also, we provide tools to manage services, service provider like Brennan IT. Also, we provide capability to back up your data to the cloud if you wish, and also to a private cloud to replicate between your data center. But when the market starts evolving and people needed to back up also physical loads, or they wanted to back up from the public cloud back to their data center, we start seeing needs to develop a new technology in order to capture physical loads and capture public cloud. And that's what we introduced with the new version. It's coming 9.5, which we're going to see it soon, the Veeam agent for Windows and also for Linux. It's like a traditional backup. You will be able to install a client inside a VM or inside a physical server or into the cloud, communicate with the Veeam Availability Suite, and that's how we start capturing information from off-premises, if that's in the public cloud or the physical workload. Now, something is very important to mention here about the physical cloud. Today, what I ever show you on the demo about the Active Directory restore and the SQL backup, all of that's done with agent-less. We don't install anything inside the virtual machines, and we do a great job on understanding what's running, what application running inside that VM, whether that SharePoint, whether that Active Directory, Exchange, SQL, and Oracle, and file server. So with the introduction of the agents, it's going to give you the same capability, but installing an agent into the machine probably will be the used for physical workload. Because today Veeam is dominated into the virtual infrastructure workload, and we want to capture more market share. And also when it's come to a strategy of hybrid cloud, cloud provider like Amazon Azure and VMware vCloud, they don't give the third-party application to access the hypervisor, and there is need for backing up this workload, and with Veeam you will not be able to achieve that because we need access to the hypervisor, and hence we introduce the physical workload. Now also we introduced another product, very nice product. I'm so excited about that product. I already tested it in my lab and it's worked just fine. If you wish to play with the product, just let me know after this webinar, register to the beta, and we can go through the beta together. With Veeam Availability Orchestrator is an orchestrator product where it's going to create a disaster recovery plan, test that plan, and also document the plan for you. So one of the challenges you'll find today on the DR strategy market, that people don't go through the hassles of creating a DR plan and testing the DR plan because they are become very complex. It's a complex exercise. It's an expensive exercise, especially when it comes for documentation too of that test plan and the DR plan itself. So with the product, with the Availability Orchestrator, Veeam will be able to build that DR plan for you. So which server you wanted to test, which server you wanted to protect, how you wanted to protect them, what exactly you wanted to test when you do the testing, and document all of these functionality that you added to the plan, and give me a nice document that I can have it, and my staff will be able to refer to in a case we hit by a disaster, and we'll be able to remediate from a disaster faster. So that's the Orchestrator, very nice product, and it's already available as a beta, and if you wanted to test it, just let us know, and we will be very happy to help you through the beta, and then you will be able to give us also feedback, which we are welcome any feedback. Now, all these products that we just spoke about, the Veeam Availability Suite, which included the backup and replication and the monitoring tools, the agent, the orchestrator, will be wrapped around a console, which we call the Availability Console, which is going to get information from all these components together in a centralized web GUI, and from there you will be able to manage all your infrastructure, your hybrid infrastructure, whether that's sitting on the managed cloud or public cloud or in the private cloud, and also doing testing, doing DR planning, and also manage Linux and Windows physical workload. All of that is going to run from one virtual or from web console, just to make it easy for you. Now, another product that is a standalone product is already on the final days of the release, so it's out there. You will be able to go to Veeam website and download. Is a backup for Microsoft Office 365, the email 365 side of the story. So this product is concentrating on backing up the exchange or the online exchange, and you will be able to retrieve all your emails from 365 and then back them up locally. Then you will be able to retrieve any emails, or also you can run discovery and do any auditing if you wish, and also for archiving. Then you can free some space online and then reduce the cost. The product is already available. You will be able to download it from a Veeam website, and also it's very simple to install, to configure, and I'm going to jump onto the server and I'll show you how simple it is to configure the Office 365 email backup. So on my server, I install a Veeam Backup 365. It's a small executable file, very simple. Run it, and then you have that GUI. Right-click, add the 365 organization, username and password of your 365 password, and that's all what you need to do. Then you will create a job. And once you create the job, you will be able to, let's run another job here just to create another job. You will be able to back up the entire mailboxes, or you can choose the mailboxes that they sit in on the 365 online at Microsoft, choose which emails you wanted to pick and select to back up, and then you will be able to select them and back them up on premise. And the repository will fit into your data center. Now you will be able to install the product because it's a standalone product. You will be able to install it in Azure if you want, or in a managed services cloud like Brennan IT, and they will be able to help you to do the backups. So it's very flexible product, and it's already available. And I will encourage you guys to test it, to play with it. And also, if you have any feedback, just let us know. Now, one more thing before I hand over to Lincoln. It's why you need a backup of 365. Okay, a lot of customers will ask me this question: why you need to back up something is already sitting on the internet? My answer is very simple. Any workload you put into the cloud, you're going to have availability of that service. Something happened to that data center, whether that's in Microsoft or Brennan IT, they already built their infrastructure to move from one data center to the other, and then your data is always available because they have load balancing and remediation from complete data center failure. But what will happen if you're going to delete an email and you extend the retention expired and you wanted that mailbox, the entire mailbox, or you hit by a viruses and affect all your email system? And that's where you need a product like the Veeam Backup for Microsoft Office 365, which give you the recoverability of the data. So the cloud is good to give you availability. Veeam is good to give you the recoverability of the 365. And with that, I want to thank you for listening, and I will hand over back to Malcolm. Thank you.
Thanks, Hal, and that brings us to the end of our presentations and demos. I hope that you found that very informative and useful, and the demo gods were with us today, and nothing went wrong. Thankfully. We move on to the questions now. We've got one question already, but if you have any questions, please type them into the questions box on your GoToWebinar console on your right. And this is about the Office 365. I think I have one for you, Hal. Will it back up the archive in Office 365 Exchange Online and the litigation hold data, or just the current active mailbox?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, only the active mailbox at this stage.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
What's the line speed? Okay, so there's no requirement with the line speed. Just remember that the faster the line, the faster will be the replication, the backup. But the good thing that with Veeam that we also provide you with WAN acceleration. If you have a low bandwidth between the Brennan IT and your site, you will be able to deploy the WAN acceleration. You inform Brennan IT that you need to use that functionality. They will enable it for you, and then all the communication between on the premises of your site to Brennan IT data center will be compressed, encrypted, and send it to the data center on Brennan IT. No worries.
Any further questions? We'll give it a few more seconds, and then we'll wrap up. All right. Thanks, everyone, for your time, and have a great day. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or would like to have a discussion about how you would adopt Veeam Cloud Connect in your own business, please contact your Brennan IT client manager.
Welcome, I just want to jump here.
Yep.
Sorry, I just have to jump here. There is two questions here. We have to answer them. It's not fair for the people who've been listening. We have to give them an answer. So we have Veeam version 9. Will it work? Yes, actually, all my demo, as you saw into my demo today, was built on 9. And Brennan IT data center is set on 9, so you will be able to use the system, no problem. Just contact Brennan IT. They will take you through the configuration that you have maybe to do, or the license is needed, and you will be able to benefit from the offering. Does WAN acceleration work with first run data, or does that have to be seeded first? If you wanted to reduce the time of the backup, you will be able to seed. The nice thing with the WAN acceleration, you will be able to seed and let the WAN acceleration to build the cache before you start the job. And if you do that, then you will reduce the speed. So you will be able to back up locally, send to Brennan IT. They will restore. Then they will cache the information into the WAN acceleration cache, and then that will benefit you. If standard edition will work, yes, standard edition also will give you all the functionality with that, especially except the WAN acceleration. But I will going to leave this license in the question with Brennan IT. Then they will be able to give you more information.
Any
there is
questions?
another.
Yep.
Yes, we have a lot of questions. That's good. Really, thanks, guys. Always the WAN acceleration going to work. Remember, the WAN acceleration work as a global deduplication. So any job that run before is going also to benefit the next job. Again, for your question, cache the information first, then you will benefit from the WAN acceleration straight away. Otherwise, it's going to start pushing the data, start slowly building the cache, and then try to compare with what already been cached.
Just Hal, I'm not sure if you answered the question about will it work on standard edition?
Yes, so with the standard edition, the answer is yes. More information, I said if they can contact Brennan IT, that will be better, because then there will be other things to consider, and I will leave license and question to Brennan IT. Yeah.
So any questions about licensing or pricing, please contact us afterwards. We won't address those right now. It's great value for money is what I would summate all that as a price per gigabyte to target it to us. And if you don't run Veeam whatsoever on premise now, we can also purchase the Veeam software itself through us as well. Okay, it looks like we don't have any more questions coming through. Thanks very much, everyone, for your time, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks.